Hey everybody, the Miser here with another video for the weekly events series. Again, like the King's Path, this one isn't necessarily a weekly event. It happens every 2 to 3 weeks, basically once every consumption. So while it's not a weekly event, it does happen often enough that you're going to see it again and again, so I think it does fit into this category fairly nicely. So, as I said, this is a consumption event, and that's whether it's resource consumption or speed up consumption. Gather troops will appear all the time in each one. And gather troops, unlike King's event, happens at the beginning. Gather troops is probably one of my favorite mini events in the game because the rewards are just insane. They're just so good. However, at the same time, the difficulty level to complete Gather Troops is very, very high. It requires a lot of preparation or a lot of spending. And since I don't like to spend, it requires a lot of preparation. You'll find Gather Troops in the, you go into the icon for the events, and just like Login Rewards, Crazy Eggs, King's Path, it'll appear under here while it's active. When it does cross over with King's Path, it's very convenient because they both share a killing kind of reward quest thing that you can double up. So that is greatly convenient, but that only happens when the consumption event is smaller. So it's not every time that they're going to double up. Sometimes Gather Troops will finish and then King's Path will start. Okay, so let's get into what it is, what the rewards are, and tips and tricks. So Gather Troops, like the name sounds, is more militaristic in what they ask you to accomplish. The rewards are better. So in King's Path, I talked about how you can get Mehmed II. In this one, you get Epic Historic General, just a token. So you can get a wonderful general or you can get garbage. It's all based on luck, so hopefully that ends up being something great for you if you can complete it. And there are very few sources of getting some of these generals out there. So this is one of the only available options for non-spenders to get some of those high quality generals. I'm tired if you can't tell. All right, so the package details. You get 1 skillbook page, 2 dragon crystals, and 15 refining stones for every one of these things that you complete. So that means in addition to claiming this and getting all these individual rewards here, you also get 1 progress level, which gives you 1 of these chests. All these chests will appear in your inventory, just like King's Path, after the event is over. Like I did mention, this is not an easy one to complete, but you should do your best, especially in this one, to get as far as possible every time, just because rewards are so much better. Accumulate steadily on day 1. This one is consistently here. It's increased power by up to 100 million power. This doesn't mean that your kingdom has to grow by 100 million power. That just means you have to increase your power. So you could go down 50 and then go up 100, and the 100 would still matter. You could also, stay the same power, but you're constantly healing and wounding troops, maybe because you're running bosses. The power increase will still accumulate. It's not like Power Day where it's your net gain. This is the gross. So even if you're the same end result, you're still 100 million power. If you have healed consistently 5 million power, 5 million power, 5 million power, it's going to increase here. So that's one really nice thing about that, and most players should be able to get to the 30 or 60 without too much difficulty just by regular play if they're running bosses and things. If you are relying on other people to do that, then you should be able to get to these rewards, which are still not terrible. So the further you get, the better, but remember that you're also accumulating these, which are all items that you need to be successful in this game too. So just get as far as you can there. The next one, you have recruit more. It's not always this one. I think there is a variation to this. I can't remember off the top of my head. This is the one that I prefer. Cultivate generals, a whole bunch, up to 1,000 times. That's a huge number, but I'll show you how that is very doable in a second. I can't remember what the other one is. I'm sure that somebody will remember and put it in the comments, and you can look there for that information. I just can't remember right now. So cultivating generals, that requires you to go into a general. You can pick whichever one just to show you what I mean here. This guy needs some cultivation. Oh, apparently not. So there's gold cultivates, gem cultivate, or the cultivate times 10. I don't remember if I've made a cultivation video, but I'll give you a good little example here with guy that is lower. Let's go with this Empress here. So if I'm cultivating her, for the first, I don't know, up to about 20, you're just going to get free, green upgrades. And then after that, it'll start to be mixed. So like I said, up to about 20 of each, it'll be like just green and it'll be just growth. And that's great. You should always use gold cultivation just to be, saving your resources and your gems and all that stuff. I don't mean resources, but game resources. Again, I'm tired. So use gold all the way to where you get to 300 of each stat if you're trying to level them all. Or if you're just doing an individual stat like politics for Queen Jindiok, for example, I wouldn't necessarily do all of her stats because that would be wasteful. But get to the point where you do 300. After that point, that's what I call the soft wall or the soft threshold here for cultivation, a soft cap. Once you get there, you can keep cultivating with gold, but you won't have any success. It won't go further than that. At that point, you have to use gems. So you can use individual gem cultivation, or you can just do the times 10 and choose what you want. Do you want a total overall increase? Do you want only politics to increase? Do you want only attack to increase? I can't see any reason why you'd ever want leadership, attack, or defense to only increase. You either want total increase for a general that's going to be for PvP or general, play, or for politics only for something like Queen Jindiok, who I only care about her gathering speed. So you can do that and then get that up. And it's still, even with all that knowledge, it's still very tedious to complete the gather troops. It's very, very tedious. So if you don't have the time and you just want to complete this, here's my tip. Do what I'm about to do right here. And that's what I did this morning to complete this. I was watching TV. I pick a garbage general that I don't have cultivated, that is probably like 0. Maybe I just bought them. And let me find someone. Here we go. Queen Boudica. I think I got her from the fragments. Go to cultivate and just spam click. It doesn't really matter whether I move up, I move down. I'm just going to do that. It'll take me about 10-15 minutes and I'll get to 1,000. Right? I'm not really caring about her growth. I just want to complete the event. And I strongly suggest that you do that. I know it seems tedious, but when you do it like that, it doesn't take that long to get to 1,000. And the rewards just for this alone, all the refinement stones, and the healing speeds and the material chests, all that alone are good enough to warrant you to do that. But remember that is, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So doing that completes 7 of these. You'll get 7 skill book pages, 14 dragon crystals, and whatever 7 times 15 is of refinement stones. I guess that would be what? Oh, God. About 100? Somewhere around there. So it's definitely worthwhile to spend that time. Now, here's where things get challenging. Day 2, Day 3, Day 4, Day 5 are all about military stuff. Day 2, 3, and 4 are about training units and traps. Traps are easy. That's just resources. And everybody has speeds for traps because traps suck. Nobody really makes them. But to complete these, Siege Machine, to complete the range, the mounted, and the ground troops, you have to train tier 13 or tier 14 in excess of 500,000 of each unit type, which requires significant resources. And in addition to that, you need to have enough speed ups for 432,000 minutes of training. And what is that in hours? Oh boy. So 432,000 is, I'm just plugging into my calculator here, minutes into hours. So that's 7,200 hours, which is 300 days of speed ups. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. I thought it was going to be higher. Let me double check that. 432,000 minutes is, yeah, that is right. So it's 300 days worth of training speed ups, which is still a lot because it's not common speed ups, it's training speed ups, and those are limited. You do get a bunch of good rewards, but this isn't something that you would complete every time it comes around. It's just unrealistic. But if you save up for several months, maybe you can. I don't even think I've completed this yet. I've gotten up to maybe in the 50s one time, but I don't think I've actually tried to fully complete that. It's just really tough. And although the rewards are great, there's other things to do in this game too. The traps, you have to do level 6 and above, so don't accidentally go and train a whole bunch of other stuff. But again, that's just resources. If you have the resources and you're in need of things like, well, speed ups, probably not, but if you need dragon scales, for example, you might decide to actually just build them, but 50,000 level 6 traps is not a small chunk of change either. Let me just check here. So level 6, oops, that's not what I wanted. Build. So level 6, that's level 7. I don't need that. So if I trained level 6, for example, to train 8,500 basically is 20, 10, 10. So it would probably cost me about 100 million-ish wood and about 50 million of the rest. So about an average of 60 million of each resource is what it would cost to complete that. Now the question is that worth these rewards to you? To me it isn't. I don't usually complete that. But if I was to go for this, I would have to, so you should plan for that. Undefeated is all about attacking level 34 or above, level 34, level 35 keep, and winning 10 times. Easiest way to do that is to just find a dead level 35 keep. People quit the games all the time. Just keep the name bookmarked so you can do an arrest warrant, find them, hit them 10 times, win, and you'll complete that. That's a lot of materials you get, stones, you get runestone chests for your general to improve them. The other one, and this one is a big tip I have for you, and I mentioned this in King's Path as well. One of the best sources of advanced city teleporters is this right here. You get, how many is that? About 30 advanced teleporters. You get a ton of dragon crystals, and you get some materials. Now you're probably looking at this, a lot of you, and kill 500,000 of other players' troops sounds pretty intimidating. And it is. To go and just find a target to kill 500,000 troops for most players is really tough. It's a huge risk, to go out and try to do that. It does not have to be, though. What we like to do here in our alliance, and I know a couple that do the same thing, is we just have everybody schedule a time, just like we do for Undead event and stuff, and we say on this time everybody's just going to send a few small troops over here to our alliance city to reinforce. I just send a really weak layer of 1,000 troops, for example. And everybody sends it here, and then somebody's alt or some low player or even a big player with just some tier 1 to spare is going to drop alliance and just attack the alliance city. Everyone that was in the city at the time that it was attacked will receive their rewards. So that means just the one player's 500,000 tier 1, which do not cost very much at all, is going to complete all of this for everybody in the alliance that was in the alliance city at the time. So this is really significant rewards. If it was just for one person to receive those rewards, it might not be worth it, but for maybe 30, 40 people, even 10 people, it is definitely worth it to get that done. So that is a consideration for you. The other thing that I also mentioned in the other video is when it overlaps with King's Path, there is this overlap of killing troops. So 100,000 for King's Path gets you some free rewards here, and it's 500,000 for the gathered troops. And then you'll complete that. So the overlap is very nice. That's about all I have for you on these two mini events. I'll try to post a few more on some other events in the future, like Vikings and Undead event I've had a few questions about. So stay tuned for those ones, and see ya. So I'm just going to add this little bit at the end of the video, and hopefully it's not too clunky. But it is such an important consideration that I did not want to leave this out and just put it in the notes and comments for people to miss. If you are going to be training mass amounts of troops for gather troops, to get your speed ups here, your rewards, even if you're not going to complete, if you're going to train all these troops, make sure you do it on a troop train day in resource consumption event. Don't do it at any other time because you really want to double up on all the rewards. And troop train day is the easiest way to increase the amount of points that you get in the Monarch competition. So like this isn't even a resource consumption one, and just looking at the scores here for the players here, 1.5 billion, 1.4 billion, it did not come from resource gathering. Like look at my score. I didn't do horrible. I didn't do a whole lot of resource gathering, but 8 million from resource gathering compared to a billion score. Yeah, it didn't come from resource gathering. It didn't come from city development. You can get a good chunk from power increased day, but nothing compares at all, with the exception of maybe kill event, to troop training day. If you have a lot of resources, train your troops for gathered troops on a troop train day in resource consumption. All the stars have to align, but when they do, you can get so many rewards and so much benefit for the little bit that you pump out.